inside. When they did that, they managed to reclaim about $3 million worth of gold. Around the same time, they also cleaned the ceiling of this room. And from the gold dust that fell, they managed to reclaim about $250,000. That's just gold dust, mind you. So give you an idea how much gold there might still be in the walls and in the floor as well. However, because this is a heritage listed site, gold inside those places will be staying in there for a very long time. But bringing it back to today, this is the furnace I'm going to be using. It is a natural gas furnace, reaches a temperature of 1200 degrees Celsius. The melting point of gold is only about 1064 degrees. So you might be sitting there wondering why is the temperature of the furnace so much higher than the melting point of gold? Well, quite simply, that difference in temperature will give me about 30 to 40 seconds to get the gold out of the furnace and pour it into the mold before it goes solid. If it's not been there long enough, it might actually start to go solid as I'm pouring it out, which isn't the end of the world. However, we try to aim to get the whole gold bar out every single time. Speaking of the gold, it's currently inside the furnace over here. It's not just sitting there at the bottom by itself, it's actually inside one of these. This is essentially a pot. We call it a crucible. It's made up of a mixture of clay and graphite. It can withstand temperatures of up to 1600 degrees Celsius. It costs about $110. However, they only last for about 10 to 14 days. After about 10 days, it starts to look a bit more like this. The interesting thing about the old crucibles, they actually had quite a lot of gold stuck on the inside. So we send these off to the refinery, they will crush them down and try to extract as much gold as they can. On average, we'll probably get about $600 worth of gold from each old crucible, so it's definitely a worthwhile task. Now, when they start to look like this, it's a good indication for us to substitute them out for a brand new one. However, sometimes, on the rarest of occasions, our crucibles do fail on us. This was one such example. So the story behind this one was, well, we're actually doing a live gold pouring demonstration, much like this one. And our gold pourer started to bring the crucible out of the furnace when he realised there was a bit of gold dripping out from the bottom. Being the experienced gold pourer he was, he simply put the crucible back inside the furnace and let the gold gush out on its own accord. So hopefully this doesn't happen to us today. Let's all cross our fingers for a very smooth gold pour. But before I get stuck into that, I will take you through the equipment I'm going to be wearing, starting from the bottom. I'm wearing steel-capped boots. On top of the boots, I have these coverings there called spats. Also wearing flame-retardant pants and shirts. I'm also going to be wearing an apron. This apron has 3 different layers. On the top is aluminium, designed to reflect the heat off of my body. Underneath is pure merino wool, and sandwiched in between those two is something called Kevlar. Kevlar is used in racing cars, space expeditions, and it's even used in bulletproof vests. Now, the original gold pourers used to operate this area back in the day when we had 15 furnaces running in here. Didn't always get to wear such great equipment that I have today. Originally, they actually started with leather aprons. Thankfully for them, a few decades later, they did upgrade. They went from leather aprons to asbestos aprons, which was great for safety, not so good for their health. So I guess I'm very appreciative of the bulletproof apron that I get to wear today. But some other things I'm also appreciative of, the gloves. These are the first pair I'm going to wear, also made of the same material, right here. These ones are going to be used to get the gold out of the furnace. As you can see, they'll probably go all the way up to my shoulder, unlike these ones, my second pair. These ones are blue leather gloves, obviously a bit smaller. More importantly, they're a bit more flexible, they have a bit more dexterity to them as well. So I will reserve these for flip table right here. After that, we grab my pouring tongs. Pouring tongs are a little bit different. One thing they're held horizontally like this, also have a solid mat and a little hook at the top. This is all designed so that it gives me nice leverage and stability when I pour the gold into this mold here. Now that mold is an iron cast mold. It's currently on top of this concrete slab over here. But at the start of the day, I actually put that mold on top of the lid of the furnace. The reason I do that is to keep treated so it doesn't crack when the gold gets poured in. But also we coat the inside of this mold with a layer of kerosene. Kerosene is there so that the gold doesn't stick to the mold. We try to flip it out. However, if that kerosene is not dry and I proceed to pour molten gold into it, it would just flame up. It would essentially